God worked in many ways to teach me about himself and grow me to be a follower of Jesus. When God parted the sea so that Joshua could lead his people across the Jordan River, Joshua said, "He did this so that all the peoples of the earth might know that the hand of the Lord is powerful." I am here today to share how God used Maranatha to demonstrate his powerful hand. In 1990, I was 12 years old and came to Maranatha for the first time to visit some people we had never met, Bruce and Lynn Brown. It was our first visit to Maranatha, but we immediately fell in love with it. Our family later bought a condo, which was not a wise financial investment, but a priceless investment in our spiritual lives. Almost 30 years later, Bruce and Lynn became my neighbors when my husband and I bought a trailer. This is the first example of God's hand working in my life to bring me to Maranatha. Shortly after we came to Maranatha, my brothers and I became involved in the teen and children's programs. My team leaders were godly people who poured themselves into my life on and off the clock. They were mentors and became friends. As a teen, I helped 2 of my leaders meet their husbands. Now, 3 of my kids are working in the children's program to point others to Christ. Pointing out God's hand in the Maranatha staff, I must recognize Francine Bush. She was my first boss when I worked in the beginner room. She mentored me, loved me, and prayed for me, and actually just told me this morning she was praying for me, giving this message. To this day, she continues to pray for me and my family. God also demonstrated his hand on me when Scott and Karen Melby mentored and loved me as a teen and later as a young adult. The year before Scott went to spend eternity with the Lord, my husband and I met with Scott and Karen to get their godly wisdom for our marriage and for raising our children to be followers of Jesus Christ. God's powerful hand was never more evident than when I was diagnosed at age 18 with a radial neuropathy and loss of most function in my right hand and arm. The Maranatha family prayed faithfully for me. The Sunday morning men's prayer group not only prayed for me, but sent frequent cards. You really know you are loved and prayed for when the men of Maranatha put together and sign a quilt square, which I value to this day. I also learned what a faithful prayer warrior was from Bill and Marilee Doofendock, who prayed for me for years and years and years until they went home to be with Jesus. Anita Kessler prayed and took me to hand therapy in Wheaton so I could continue my education. Through this experience, I learned prayer is not to get our will done, but to get God's will done. I desperately needed the help of God's people, and the Maranatha community supported me with prayer and encouragement. While my arm was not healed in spite of prayer and 2 surgeries, God protected me from discouragement. I am grateful for God's powerful hand in my life through the people who prayed me through a very difficult time. Little did I know I would rely again on the prayer and support of the Maranatha family for my son, Will. In March of 2021, we abruptly learned that Will only had 60% of his heart and lung function and would require serious chest wall surgery. Most of the Maranatha family were scattered across the country that March. A call for prayer went out, and we were overwhelmed once again with the support of our Maranatha family and his team leader, Tommy, who did weekly Zoom check-ins. We were told the biggest complication in surgery was the potential that they could puncture Will's heart. We prayed over Will the night before surgery, asking God to protect his heart. I was a puddle of tears. When we finished praying, Will said, "Mom, why are you crying? God is going to protect me because so many people are praying." Once again, God used the prayers of the Maranatha community to uphold us and build my child's faith. You will probably see Will at the guest staff basketball game on Thursday, playing with his fully functioning heart and lungs. God has continued to show his strong and loving hand through Maranatha. All 4 of my children were dedicated here on the beach by Marty Dorn. And our youngest child, Caroline, was baptized in Lake Michigan by Ron Clark. My family has felt God's hand in our lives through the Maranatha family. We have also seen God's powerful hand in the lives of many other residents and guests over the years. Just 3 weeks ago, we were able to join with the Week 2 guests and residents to love and support the Hegley family after Neil's sudden death on our campus. Week 2 held them up in prayer and provided financial gifts for this young family. My 2 sons, along with other staff volunteers, were able to love and care for their 2 young boys throughout the week. The powerful hand of God was visible through the work of his body here that week. Psalm 20, verses 5 and 6 state, "Now this I know, the Lord gives victory to his anointed. He answers him from his heavenly sanctuary and with the victorious power of his right hand. Some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we trust in the name of the Lord our God."